Yo, what up, UAP fans? It's your boys, Adam and Topher. We're bringing you the best podcast out there. You know what it is. So hit, click, and smash those like and subscribe buttons if you want to see aliens, yo. They out there. Check the skies, yo.
You are a natural, Topher.
Now, I hope to God that is enough for a YouTube thumbnail. Because that is the most obnoxious shit I've ever done on this show. And that's how every YouTube video starts. So hopefully that gets us some clicks on YouTube. So
absolutely, yep.
If you are listening, or watching, you're welcome. Tell your friends and all that jazz that we don't really ever say, because that's not why we're doing this.
Like I said, Topher, you're natural. That was hilarious. It was a good performance. You gotta love those noises too. I mean, so let's see. We'll do an A/B test. You know.
Yeah.
Well, the YouTube will have the thumbnail of your likeness on it.
Great. That's fantastic.
I'll take a screenshot of you and put it right there.
Yeah, and if you ever see YouTube thumbnails, which I know you do, it's always like it'll be the face, and then it's like it's like all big letters and capitals.
Right. Yeah, we do something similar. Just
make it look super stupid. YouTube.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, those are easy.
Cool, but for real, this is the Uncovering Anomalies podcast, episode 149, and we are covering a topic that is very close to my heart. Not close to my heart, but I love this story, this mystery, this conspiracy that was going on. Still, some would say still going on today.
There's always interest
in the golden age of the internet, the wild west of the internet, the early 2000s.
Before 9/11. So when he was saying the stuff he was saying, this is John Titor, the supposed time traveler from 2036. But when he was posting this stuff pre 9/11, it was like, what are you talking about? American federal empire, civil unrest. You know, he's talking about the Constitution, to an audience that, just obviously forgot about the Constitution. Which was cool too. He really focused on that, which wasn't a big deal, in the movement, because everything was so great. It was like utopia here. It was just perfect pre 9/11, I would say.
Yeah, and for those who still haven't figured it out, Adam said it earlier, but we are covering John Titor. He was a supposed time traveler that first called into Coast to Coast, and then later was posting on online forums. And again, this was pretty early internet for the public, and so there wasn't Facebook or even YouTube and stuff like that. It was message boards.
Right, message boards.
But this guy, he made a lot of predictions. I think we'll probably get into. He talks about the theory of time travel, which I hope we'll have a chance to sit and theorize about, because time travel it's a whole can of worms that's so hard to cover and talk about seriously, because there's no straightforward theory about time travel. It's all just bizarre, and it's
and he was on physics boards. I mean, it wasn't just any messaging board. He was talking to real physicists that were and they were talking about time travel. So, it was those types of people that he was arguing with, and his theories made a lot of sense. Talks about the many worlds, parallel universes, that's the only way it works. Basically, I mean, we can get into the details.
We'll cover all that. I'm just hoping we can throw some theories about time travel in there. Like, just off the top of my dome, I don't think it will be possible or ever be possible for humans to travel backwards through time. I think that breaks the laws of physics, in my opinion. Of course, there are like I said,
that's why the many world theories works, because that's the only way it could do it. That it's similar, not exactly it, and that's how you can get away with it. Apparently, we don't know.
We'll go through all of that. That is I have a need to know, Adam.
That's right.
I am Topher. I don't have a nickname today because you all got that great introduction by me, so you're welcome for that.
Thank you, Topher. Thank you for taking one for the team. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah,
and I will watch the analytics, see if we get a drop off. I bet you people are gonna stay longer because you did that, but
we'll get a bunch of comments about how does that one guy show his face for 30 seconds and then we don't see any more faces for the rest of the show.
Camera malfunctions.
Yeah, there it is. Camera malfunction. But yeah, we're like I said, we're talking about John Titor. I'm really excited about this. Let's
Yeah,
hop into it.
yeah, we're gonna go into like a summary kind of, and it does bring in other things, and then we can go into the details. We can get into the posts that he did, and the lore and all that. So yeah, should be fun.
Why don't you start and I'll read the quote.
All right. On the 27th of January, 2001, this unusual message was posted on an online forum, Post to Post, which is a forum by Coast to Coast host Art Bell.
Greetings! I am a time traveler from the year 2036. I am on my way home after getting an IBM 5100 computer system from the year 1975. Remember the IBM 5100? That's a major point in this story, folks. My time machine is a stationary mass temporal displacement unit manufactured by General Electric.
Of course.
The unit is powered by two top spin dual positive singularities that produce a standard offset Tipler sinusoid. I will be happy to post pictures of the unit.
Yeah, that's so cool too. The actual unit, and
he did in fact
yes,
post
he
pictures.
did.
We'll cover all of this. We'll talk about the 5100 and everything else.
Even the instruction manual as well. So the poster's name was John Titor, a man who described himself as an American soldier from the future. The reason for traveling back in time, he stated, was to retrieve an old computer which contained a component of vital importance to the future. This was a story which was maintained throughout further posts, which appeared in great number across numerous online forums. For many who have researched this enigma, the name John Titor has been an incessant source of fascination and obsession. Yes, as you can see with us.
Yes, it is.
This is in part due to the rich details his story provides about our future and the nature of the universe in which we all live. We can go down to who is John Titor.
John Titor described how he was an American historian with a specialism in the 20th century. His academic funding had been provided by the Army, whilst he was enlisted. Sorry, let me try this again. His academic funding had been provided by the Army whilst he was as an enlisted soldier. Awkward sentence. By the year 2036, he claimed, time travel had been developed by the government and had been used for several years by the time of his expedition. Titor said that he had been chosen to be sent to the year 1975 with the mission of retrieving an IBM 5100.
Yeah.
A portable computer which contained an outdated piece of coding that was needed in the future.
So brilliant, man. If they came up with this story, it's just
yeah. Well, I'm sure it's covered later on what the IBM 5100 does. If not, I'll make sure to drop the knowledge there. The Army had chosen Titor because of his historical knowledge and because his grandfather had been one of the people who had worked on the very computer needed.
There it is.
And there's a picture of the IBM 5100.
Look at that thing, man. It's so cool.
During the course of mission in 1975, Titor made an obscure promise to his grandfather that he would return to the year 2000. Whilst no details are given as to the nature of this promise, Titor maintained that it was for personal reasons.
Oh, that's such a great reason.
Yes.
Yeah, don't bother. It's none of your business, man. It's for personal reasons, okay?
Yeah. He had to go follow the band Sugar Ray. That part is true.
You want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Such was how it came to be that in the year 2000, John Titor shared his story on the internet. So how likely is it that a future society would desperately need access to outdated computer technology? Whoa, what's that noise? Whilst I think that was your mic.
Oh, sorry.
Whilst this part of the story may seem unusual, in 2002, NASA experienced a similar dilemma. To finish building their booster testing machines, they had to buy outdated medical equipment on eBay to scavenge their own obsolete Intel 8086 chips from the 1970s. In the case of the machine Titor was sent to retrieve, the IBM 5100, the time traveler described a special feature of the machine which had not been publicly announced. Bizarrely, some of these computers are said to hold a special code which stopped being used after the 1970s. In 2004, a few years after the Titor mystery, Bob Dubke, an engineer who helped design the IBM 5100, did indeed confirm that such a feature existed.
Yeah, the feature they're talking about, it's a debugging tool that the IBM 5100 used for other 1970s computers.
Right. The fact that IBM 5100 is portable also makes it a better candidate than its far larger cousins for this alleged one-man time travel expedition. As his motive for needing to travel back in time was somewhat logical, those communicating with Titor on forums at the time were drawn further into the story.
The future, according to John Titor. So one of the things that everyone loves about this story is all of the events that he claimed would be happening in our future, in the near future, from 2000 to 2015, 2036, all this stuff. Some of it was way off or was changed, which we'll get into. Some of it came a lot later, and some of it is kind of wackadoo. But here we go. As well as describing his personal history, John Titor also revealed information about a future marred by warfare. A common theme in all of his posts is the detail he provides in describing alleged future events.
Yeah, and again, this is before 2001,
Yes.
So yeah, and that's what really made it crazy.
Civil War and World War III. The year 2008 was a general date by which time everyone will realize the world they thought they were living in was over. The Civil War.
He's a little right there with the crash in 2008. But yeah, sorry, go ahead. We can talk about it after.
The Civil War in the United States will start in 2004. I would describe it as having a Waco type event every month that steadily gets worse. The conflict will consume everyone in the U.S. by 2012 and end in 2015 with a very short World War III. So yeah, let's talk about this.
Yeah, I want to talk about the dates now. He says dates, but he's also from a different timeline, right? So there is divergence. Let's
hold off on that. Let's hold off on that part until the timeline divergence and stuff. Let's hold off on talking about that until later. I do want to talk about the dates he just listed above, though.
All right, so 2008, what happened there? I mean, I want to say the dates they're not going to be accurate. There's so many things with the dates.
Right, I know, but there's still some things in here that I think are juicy. 2008 was a general date, as you pointed out when I was reading that. That's when the economic collapse happened, the housing crisis was, right?
Correct. Yep.
And again, the world they thought they were living in was over. That happened for a lot of people. They thought they.
Oh yeah. People are still suffering from that. Oh, the world is still suffering from that. That was not a joke. It was $15 trillion just erased, just like that. It's really been difficult financially since then. We just
now
kicked the can down the road.
Civil war is something that people have been half joking, half actually predicting in the United States for decades at this point. Every time we hear about, for instance, the thing that happened this past week was the shooting in Minnesota by an ICE officer, shot a protester and yada yada yada, and everyone always talks about civil war. Wait, scroll up. I was still going through that. So I mean, that obviously we didn't have an official civil war in 2004, but there's arguments to be made that we're in the beginnings of a civil war, right? People have been talking about that, and
right.
Describe it as a Waco type event every month. I mean, there has been similar things to Waco, not as big and popular as Waco, but I mean, we've got all these horrible events.
And there is news, and we'll get to the news, like what's happening now, and link it back, because there is, it's looking way more serious than it ever has before. That's for sure. And we have had hints, yes, in the past of civil unrest and civil war, like especially in the BLM riots and stuff like that. But this one's getting serious because it's with the feds. That wasn't with the feds. Actually, they didn't do anything. They let them have free reign. But this one, it's the people versus feds, or people against each other. It just looks way more serious this time.
Mm-hmm. So hopefully everyone knows about Waco, and before that, Ruby Ridge, right? But
right.
Just to sum it up, the Waco event Titor referred to was a siege in 1993 by American federal and state authorities against a religious sect in Texas. During the crisis, hundreds of federal agents attacked their compound. Overall, at least 80 members of the sect were killed, including children. Horrible. It was really bad. Yeah. At the time, the siege was widely regarded as a landmark event, which turned the minds of many Americans against the federal government. True. By referencing it, especially with it still in recent memory, Titor insinuated the rising of tensions between local and central authorities. We are seeing that all the time, ever since, really popularized now with Trump in office.
Right.
Indeed, the alleged time traveler described how, as a young man, his life was defined by a war which pitted the countryside of the U.S. against cities controlled by federal authorities. We're not quite there yet, but that being said,
it's going to happen. Yeah.
Every election that comes up, they're always talking about blue cities versus the red
Right.
rural areas, right? Not that
Yeah.
far off.
I think it's getting to a point where, especially when it's not CBDCs but stable coins, because a financial collapse or reset has to happen because the system cannot continue this way, which is why they set up the Genius Act and stable coins, XRP, that infrastructure, because obviously it's going to be used, or they wouldn't have invested in that infrastructure. So I think that's where the divide's going to happen. That people are going to be on that system, and the ones who are not are probably going to be in the countryside, right? So the ones in the system will be in the cities. The ones outside that system will be in the countryside. That's my take on it.
Yeah, I mean, I just think the cities are more. They've got, they're obviously more popularized. There's more people in the cities, and what does the government want to control? People. So the first places they're going to go to control are the cities.
Exactly.
So here is more from John Titor. When the civil conflict started and got worse, many people generally decided to stay either in the cities and lose most of their civil rights under the guise of security, or leave the cities for more isolated and rural areas. Our home was searched once, and the neighbor across the street was arrested for some unknown reason. That convinced my father to leave the city. From the ages of 8 to 12, we lived away from the cities and spent most of our time in a farm community with other families, avoiding conflict with the federal police and National Guard. By that time, it was pretty clear that we were not going back to what we had, and the division between the cities and the country was well defined.
Wow.
Due to the rising stakes of the conflict, a military career was an obvious choice for the young time traveler. I joined a shotgun infantry in 2011.
I thought that was cool. I always thought that was cool, shotgun infantry.
I served with the Fighting Diamondbacks for about 4 years. The Civil War ended in 2015 when Russia attacked the U.S. cities, our enemy, China, and Europe.
Interesting. So Russia attacked also China. We know for sure Europe because they're saying that now. That last week he literally said that U.S. cities, I can see it. China, they're close. I forgot what the reason was for China. I remember now. I'm remembering it now. Anyway, yeah.
The conflict then became nuclear, with America's enemies using nuclear weapons against many cities across the USA. Nuclear war is a very undesirable thing, but it is not the end of the world. There are areas and cities we can't enter, and the environment did suffer a great deal of damage, but we are recovering. Isn't Hiroshima a thriving city today? The major physical effects include skin cancer, infertility, infection, etc. Almost everyone has some sort of physical remnant from the war.
Scary stuff, man. But yeah, I mean, it's not the end of the world if nuclear war happens. But it's
nuclear explosions, there are a lot of factors that go into it. How dirty the bomb is, the yield of the bomb, of course, all that stuff.
Right, and modern ones apparently don't have that much radiation, since they're fusion bombs, basically.
Titor stated that after the war, the USA reformed itself. The United States is still a representative republic in 2036, but it was touch and go for a while. After the war, the U.S. had divided into 5 general areas based on their economic and defensive strengths. Many people blame the government organization for the war, and the last Constitutional Congress was held in 2020 to officially scrap the Constitution and start over. Fortunately, this exercise in anger pointed out how hard it was to come up with anything better. It was decided the document wasn't at fault. As a result, there have been few small changes to the Constitution and the executive branch, but you would easily recognize it. The average citizen is more educated about the Constitution and aware of the rights and responsibilities it gives them. Federal power has been decentralized, and the focus of daily politics is in the state senates. Federal law has also been streamlined, but much harder to change or make additions to.
Very nice. I actually really like that. They wanted to start over, but when they read the Constitution, they're like, well, this is a perfect document. It was just not enforced, right? And they only made small changes to it. Very strange that was in 2020, huh? The Constitutional Congress. I mean, that was a crazy year. That's COVID, basically. They basically scrapped the Constitution during COVID.
Yeah, it is funny. The timeline, once again, it's not perfect, but you remember right around that time, 2020, that's when all that talk was really poking its head up, about the Constitution and
yeah.
First Amendment, Second Amendment, and all that stuff. Obviously, it's been going on a lot longer than just from 2020, but it was
bad.
there.
2020 was bad. Yeah. I mean, and the mandates, the lockdowns, and we've never gone through that before, and that's because of a centralized federal government that has all that power. So it's cool to see that they decentralized it. Just saying, if it's the future, that is a good solution to our problems, I think.
Right.
The aftermath of World War III. In the aftermath of the war, Titor explained how survivors continued to value family and small communities. In 2036, life was described as being very different from what current society may imagine it to be.
In 2036, I live in Central Florida with my family, and I am currently stationed at an Army base in Tampa. The people that survived grew closer together. Life is centered on the family and then the community. I cannot imagine living even a few hundred miles away from my parents.
Yeah.
There is no large industrial complex creating masses of useless food and recreational items. Food and livestock is grown and sold locally. People spend much more time reading and talking together face to face. Religion is taken seriously, and everyone can multiply and divide in their heads.
Now, imagine reading this in the early 2000s, right? There's no large industrial complex creating masses of useless food and recreational items. People are only recently have woken up to this fact, which is why we have RFK Jr. and the Maha movement. That whole thing. It took 25 years. So it's just stuff like that. You're like, how did he, like, even if you're a big picture person and you see patterns, and why was he even thinking about that if it wasn't really an issue back then? Do you know what I mean? What I'm saying? Like, it just seems too early for someone to pick up on that.
Well, it isn't. It isn't. When you think about this world he's describing, minus the war and all that other stuff, but being close to your family, community, religion's an important part. There's more focus on local government. This is a libertarian's dream.
Food and livestock is grown and sold locally, and you see huge movements with that as well. I mean,
this is what libertarians dream of the future being, and myself included. I want less government oversight. I want people in Washington who are worth 9 figures, who have been worth 9 figures for a long time, and they've raped little kids for a long time. Why are they making rules for me?
Exactly. And so you are hitting the nail on the head there, because small government and going back to the Constitution, those two things are very prominent in libertarian thinking. So yeah, I mean, this guy could have been a libertarian, which was the internet too. Early internet was all libertarians.
Yes,
even the people, yeah. So that mindset was there. Correct. The invention of time travel. With peace reinstated, time travel was invented by the year 2034. However, Titor pointed out that in his future, it has not yet been made available for public use. Yeah, they wouldn't in this timeline either, buddy. I mean, so much is in secret.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just, I don't know. I'll dive into my theories about time travel, but yeah, it makes sense that it wouldn't just be for public use.
Given, exactly. Although it is reserved solely for official purposes, the general public are aware of its existence. In his forum posts, Titor is happy to discuss time travel at length, including its moral implications, which he said are discussed in his own time. Titor claimed that the state, for example, had considered using time travel as a sort of punishment. I remember that. I remember also, like, when they were trying to get because apparently when you start traveling in time, the machine moves in space as well. So they were thinking of using it as something for space travel, that if you can end up being on the moon when you travel through time, something like that. I remember reading that.
It would take a lot of math and stuff like that, but
motivations. Why did John Titor reveal all that he did? Throughout his forum posts, it is clear that John Titor, whoever he is willing to provide much detail about the alleged future. He gives opinions freely and is happy to answer questions, which he did. I mean, he pretty much answered anyone who asked him a question.
Yeah.
Yet he had no desire to change the future to come. On the contrary, in his posts, he often stated that he believed the coming conflict would be something which would help America grow in a positive way.
Oh, sorry. I think the war would be good for you and your society. I don't want to stop it.
Thanks, John. Throughout his correspondence, there's something of a callousness when Titor speaks of the war to come. In one private message, he even revealed that he, quote unquote, hates this time, seeing it as a period when people had it all, yet squandered it out of ignorance. I remember reading that too as well.
Now,
he was really upset with the people here. He was saying that you guys are not liked, you guys are not respected. This one time he went into a supermarket, he said he cried because he saw that there was so much abundance, so much choice, that, you know, basically we are looked at as just lazy, spoiled humans that just gave no regard to their rights or the Constitution. Yeah.
And this, you know, this I think ties neatly, that belief that he hated this time, I think it ties neatly into why it's made up, because the internet is full of what? Trolls and edgelords, right? And who was the nerdiest and edgelordiest out of them all on the internet back in the early 2000s? You know, the most edgelord people who, oh, I can't stand society and all this stuff. So it fits neatly into that. I just want to say.
Yeah, agreed. So why, if real, would a veteran of such an active time in history so openly reveal events yet to come? This question becomes all the more mind-boggling when it is apparent that Titor does not care about being believed. Oh, yeah.
I realize there is no way for anyone to believe me with absolute certainty, so I hope I am at least entertaining. I realize my claims are a bit ridiculous, but my intent is not really to be believed. In fact, over this medium, it's impossible to prove I'm a time traveler. Therefore, it's impossible to believe.
Yet, far from being apathetic, John Titor revealed he was afraid of being believed.
The reason time travelers do not reveal themselves is because your society scares the hell out of us. We do not want to end up in a cement room on a permanent supply of sodium prenatal as men with lab coats poke while lab coats poke at our machine with a screwdriver.
He's right. That's what we do in this, at least in this timeline, is or whatever. Look what we do to aliens: shoot them down, imprison them. Yeah. So is John Titor a hoax? The tenacity with John Titor stated that he does not expect or want to be believed is an element of this story, which perhaps ironically serves only to increase people's general willingness to believe him, unless that was his intention all along. If an elaborate hoax, it stands to reason why someone would state this as an act of reverse psychology. A lack of motive makes the persona of John Titor inherently more enigmatic and, more importantly, more believable. And then here's the time machine as well. You know, the pictures, operating instructions. I mean, could you imagine just what they go through to hoax this? I mean, here's the machine.
There is a lot of stuff here. This isn't just some forum post. This guy went full hog into it.
Yeah, and he was posting this on physics forums, talking about singularities, black holes, mini black holes. He was talking about CERN before it went online, saying that they will figure out black holes or something. So here is the theory. What he's got was this. Can I zoom in on it? Dual singularities in Kerr field. So, I mean, either they hired physicists to come up with this, and then I mean, you can hire a graphic designer to make these cutouts anyway. It's not too crazy.
Yeah, it seems more likely to me that this is a team of very smart people.
Right. Yeah. They have to be. Wouldn't this? Just the idea is just so cool because it was also in a car, like Back to the Future.
But, yeah, a little on the nose there, huh?
Right. Yeah, and here it is. He's the cutout or cutaway of the device.
Cool.
Yeah, very cool. And then he's an actual picture of it. But so the length that they went to. So that was the manual, and then several photographs as well. This is the car. It was like a 1970s car or something, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember how the story goes. He originally had it in a car, and then he had to move it into a truck later because it was so heavy. Yeah,
right. Yeah, you're right. 500 pounds.
Theoretically speaking, all of what John Titor claimed in his posts is possible. One person by the name of Martin Pullman took Titor's ideas and documents one step further, and in 2004 filed the U.S. patent for a time machine. It was published in 2006 and has since been considered an interesting, if albeit theoretical, application for the possibility of time travel. All of this increases the stakes. If a hoax, it is a highly elaborate one, thoughtfully engineered by an educated individual or group of individuals.
Right.
John Titor could simply not have been invented in all its complexities one weekend by the average bored teenager. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Another theory is that John Titor was devised for social control. As the year 2036 is painted in a very specific manner, some people have claimed that Titor is a right-wing personality
Yeah.
invented in order to instill fear of the federal government. However, in one of his posts, he advises people to not hoard guns, explaining that will only work to make you a target. Since gun ownership is a maximum of the Republican right-wing party in America, it would almost amount to heresy to not include the necessity of personal gun ownership in a bleak pro-Republican future.
Yeah. Wait, let's see what else is what's alongside. Maybe we should go to his website, to his actual post, and we can go through those. Here, let's do that.
Okay.
So this is the famous John Titor website from Oliver
Wait a second.
Williams.
Sorry. Can you back
yeah.
up to that one
Yeah.
really quick? That last paragraph seems like it's
The time versions. Okay.
talking about
Here.
the divergence. We might want to touch on that. Let's
Okay,
finish,
yeah,
let's
actually, you're
finish
right.
this article.
Here.
Yeah. Alongside the perceived erosion of civil rights, the technological advancements championed by the cities are disenfranchising to many in the countryside. So this, we skipped a little bit, but it's talking about the difference between countries and cities again. Not countries,
Yeah.
the countryside and
countryside.
people in
Yeah.
the- yeah.
In the cities. Yeah.
Those who rely on traditional methods of employment are witnessing their livelihoods being threatened. Coal mining and its future relevance, for example, was a heavily contentious issue in the 2016 election, and it is predicted that many labor-intensive jobs will be done by robots in 2040, if not sooner.
Right.
As technology continues to encroach on what is seen to be traditional countryside economies, it is not unbelievable to imagine a future in which those who have suffered under the technocratic age should come into conflict with those who are profiting from it.
Yep.
Some would argue we're already there.
Yeah.
Such a conflict would be a timeless example of a class struggle in an age of change. It is in this chord which struck Titor with an America that had recently lived through the tragedy of Waco, as well as the Oklahoma City attack of '95. This attack on a federal building was committed by a man who believed that it was necessary to draw attention to the violation of civil rights.
Very true. I mean, yeah. So we did have the Oklahoma City attack. So I mean, this this philosophy that Titor espouses was around, and many people are writing. McVeigh and that group, right? They kind of had these kind of thoughts as well.
Yes.
Small federal government, more power to the states.
In many ways, John Titor was the perfect apocalyptic prophet for the year 2000. If anything, he was too perfect, and this observation is perhaps the most suspicious element of the John Titor case.
Yeah.
History very rarely reveals itself to be as predictable as the picture he painted. World War I, for example, defied the logical progression of a civilization which regarded itself as going through a golden age. However, the 2.5 divergency effect will always give John Titor a metaphorical get out of jail free card.
That's so true, but
It
you know,
is.
it's
It
the
is
only
in
way
the-
that it would. Yeah, because it's the only way it would work anyway. At least with his theory. Yeah.
So yeah, the whole thing with John Titor, basically, as he explained it or believed it, whatever, is that, you know, time goes on different lines, and when you change it, he's talking about different timelines, right?
Yes. Yeah. Different time, multi universes, and basically, if you do travel in time the way they do it, you're in a different universe. So if you do change something in that timeline or risk changing it, and you go back to yours, your timeline doesn't change.
Which is why he even talked about meeting himself and going on rides with himself a couple of times in his post.
So
but yeah,
weird.
that's what people use when they look at, like, okay, Y2K wasn't a big deal. We didn't have a civil war in 2004 or whatever he said,
Right.
2012.
Yes.
It's because, you know, according to this theory, he's on a different timeline.
Right, exactly. And he must have changed something doing this. And, you know, of course, some changes are going to happen if people are going to read this and start thinking the way he wants about the Constitution, smaller government, local, God. You know, that just it's going to affect people. or affect the
Right.
timeline. Yeah.
Whilst this may be a fascinating, elaborate hoax, his story cannot be argued against completely. If all possibilities are happening concurrently across an infinite number of parallel universes, who is to say whether or not the future Titor described isn't one of them? Whilst predictable, the elected time traveler does describe underlying problems which has led the United States to war once before.
Hmm.
But is a 2.5% divergence enough to make our future look very different from the one proposed by the mysterious John Titor? After all, our past is filled with small moments that become history defining. If something had changed in these moments, even ever so slightly, history could have ended up being different.
Yeah.
In 1914, for example, if Archduke Ferdinand's driver had taken but 2.5 seconds more to think about where he was going, would he have taken that wrong turn which led straight to the front of the cafe where the Archduke's assassin just so happened to be?
Yeah.
That's really fun. Without that wrong turn, that small moment of chance, would
Right.
World War One ever had happened? Or would World War One merely have happened at a later date, driven by the same underlying problems but triggered by different circumstances? Thus, just because the future hasn't unraveled precisely as John Titor described it yet, doesn't mean it won't happen at all. And that is the part of the
Yeah.
reason why the mystery of John Titor will forever more
Exactly.
remain that a
He
mystery.
nailed it. He nailed it. Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah,
That's exactly what it is.
he put everything in place. He left breadcrumbs, so people can go like, man, this is so true, or this is really happening. And he left enough doubt in there where it's like, well, if it didn't happen, it just means it's not a different timeline. He set it up really well.
He did. He really did. This is the time traveling post that he did. So this is the site from 2003 by Oliver Williams. So that's why it's really shitty
Mhm.
and really
Makes
hard
sense.
to navigate. But it's good. He's still paying for it. It's still up. I mean, we can't really complain, can we? What's this? News about time travel on this. Oh no. So what does it say? Under construction. Wait. All right. So it's not. Let's go to Worldline 2036. Oh yeah, these are always good too. What are your memories of 2036? So yeah, let me know what you want to cover. If you want to do 2036, is Mad Cow, there's U.S. government, civil rights, the 5100 computer. The time travel.
I'll leave it to you. We summed up most of it, but there's a bunch of stuff that article did not cover, including the breakout of mad cow disease, which did happen. A big thing of his is he talks about how Y2K was really difficult in his timeline, and ours nothing really happened. But I just kind of learned recently, or I learned somewhat recently, that the reason Y2K didn't happen is because governments around the world spent like trillions of dollars.
Oh yeah, I was part of that actually. I was. I mean, yeah. Not just governments, but corporations. It was a huge. I think it was made by the quote unquote consultants, to get funding for these projects because of Y2K. But yeah, there was a huge amount of money and effort put into changing all these systems.
Yes,
to
make sure that nothing truly did bad happen. And now, is it 2038? When's everything supposed to collapse again? I think it is 2038.
And that's a Unix thing, right?
Yeah.
What is this? Why would I want to talk to you? Why don't you believe you have something interesting? Why don't you believe you have something interesting or worthwhile to say to someone in the future? Let's talk about ice caps. No, the ice caps are not melting any faster than they are now. There's also far less smog and industrial waste in 2036. You asked about the North Polar ice pack. I never said the environment wasn't a problem. Doesn't water expand when it freezes? If the polar ice cap melted, wouldn't sea level go down? I don't know if there's enough ice for this to make a difference, and I'm not an expert on global warming. Yes, I realize people become hostile. I don't expect anyone to believe me. He says that a lot, and I have nothing to sell. I take no offense by it. Just out of curiosity, if you were a time traveler, what do you think it would take to get people to believe you? I suppose we could agree that no particular era in history is famous for its development of humanity, but just once, I would like to hear questions like, what is family life like in the future? How does society deal with poverty? Is AIDS, abortion, and drug use still a problem? So here you can tell he's annoyed by the people asking him questions, because I think a lot of them are saying, who's going to win the World Series, because they want to bet, right, and make money.
Yeah. Well, so another thing that I think is interesting, like bringing up AIDS. I'm sure you remember, but everyone was terrified of AIDS back in this time. Now, AIDS, obviously a horrible disease, but it's more or less managed with, medications and treatment and stuff. And so it's not as big as a deal as it used to be. But one thing he does bring up, and everyone goes, well, if he was really a time traveler, why didn't he come back with Super Bowl scores and winning lottery numbers? And I ask you, the listener, who won the Super Bowl 3 years ago? Really quick, off the top of your head, without doing any research. Exactly. What are the winning lottery numbers from last week? Do you know off the top of your head? No, of course you don't. That'd be ridiculous. Now try and remember something that happened 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I know the Broncos. I know the Denver Broncos win Super Bowl 50, but that's because they're my favorite team.
Yeah. So he says it here. Why don't I give you a stock tip? The money you make would dilute the intelligence and forethought that a smart person had in picking the stock all by themselves. If I told you how to get rich, I would be taking money from them and giving it to you. Total libertarian. I am not aware of any physical change to my DNA or aura. I do, however, seem to be more susceptible to colds. Oh, that's interesting. Yes, you will remember me if you want to. Word lines do not change that way, and I will only become an insignificant part of your history. No, he's definitely not insignificant.
Right.
Yes, I believe in Jesus Christ, and we pray to God in churches. There are some differences you may be interested in. Religion is a major part of people's life in 2036. Pain and change tend to bring people together and closer to God. However, religion is far more personal than it is now. There are no huge centralized religions, and people talk openly about their beliefs. It might also interest you to know that the day of worship is Saturday. What? Shabbat? The day God meant to be the Sabbath, and the 10 commandments have been restored to the 10 that God gave us. Oh, God. Life is much more rural in the future, but high technology is used to communicate and travel. People raise a great deal of their own food and do more farm work. Yes, compared to now, we do work long hours. After the war, my father made a living selling oranges up and down the west coast of Florida. My closest friend raises horses, and another works for a company that maintains wireless internet nodes. So I gotta stop here for a second.
Okay.
So this whole thing about wireless internet nodes, this especially back then, okay, the iPhone only came out in 2008, and it still only pushed the mobile internet by just a little bit. It wasn't going really anywhere, but 3G technology was there. It wasn't that fast. It was basically like dial-up on the phone, right? It was really slow, but it still wasn't bad. But we didn't get to 4G. We didn't get to 5G. So around this time is when I started. I started company. I don't want to like dox myself, but I started company really close around this time because of that sentence right there. And I went out seeking companies and infrastructure, and I swear because of this is why I created what I did back then.
Very cool.
Yes, and it wasn't a big deal. It was very hard to go out and find. And when you told investors about the mobile internet, they're like, "What? The internet on our phone?" Like that was the conversations I was having. I'm like, yes, it will be on your phone. And I would just like to say that this is what inspired me to say, like, well, it's the future, so why not just get into it?
Very cool. Did you happen to watch the BlackBerry movie that came out a couple of years ago?
No, I did not.
Very good, but they kind of touch on this. Not John Titor, but internet on your phone.
BlackBerry, it's a great.
If you remember, BlackBerry was a few years after this. I think it was like mid to late 2000s. I want to say, where BlackBerries were like, if you're a business person, you need a BlackBerry because you have your whole office in your hand.
Yeah, and it's secure. No one can, and that's why governments didn't like BlackBerries, because they couldn't spy on people, and some countries actually blocked BlackBerry phones.
Yeah, man, you really should watch the movie. Cool. I think you get a kick out of it.
Oh, cool.
There's a lot of good technology, mobile technology talk from back then.
Cool, man. Yeah, I'll give it a check. I'll check it out. So he goes on, life has changed so much over my lifetime that it's hard to pin down a normal day. When I was 13, I was a soldier. As a teenager, I helped my dad haul cargo. I went to college when I was 31, and I was recruited to time travel shortly after that. Again, I suppose an average day in 2036 is like an average day on the farm. Yes, there's a post office. The internet is still alive and well in the future. People spend more time talking because life is more centered on the community. I've noticed the same type of effect here when the power goes off. People tend to come out of their homes and actually spend time with their neighbors. There's a lot more personal trust and less paranoia. When I'm with my parents, I live in a community made up of tree houses on a large river in Florida. The river
Yeah, I mean,
floods.
they're talking about war and all this other stuff. I mean, flooding is one of the things that comes along, especially if you live in Florida, right? So you want your
Yeah.
houses to be up in the air. I mean, that kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah, you're right. Here goes. The river floods sometimes, and we have access to the Gulf. Most of our neighbors make a living off the sea or in moving cargo by boat. No new information there on UFOs and aliens. I find that an interesting subject. Myself. Personally, I think UFOs might be time travelers with very sophisticated distortion units, but that might be a bit wacky. Yeah, because what you're saying is not wacky.
But I mean, once again, here we go. He's talking about a belief in UFOs that they're future time travelers. That's a very common belief nowadays. A lot of people, even the big names at the top of the UFO researcher chain, seem to believe that kind of stuff. So it's cool that he's bringing this stuff up 25 years before anyone else was talking about it.
Yeah, and when he first started posting, it's because he had interest in UFOs and he was listening to Coast AM, and that's when he started posting on. He sent him a fax. Actually, we have that fax that we can read. He sent Art Bell two faxes actually.
Yes,
that are still, but it's because his interest in UFOs, and of course, Art Bell held time traveling shows.
If I remember correctly, that was John Titor's first appearance in our reality. Was the faxes he sent into Art Bell.
Yeah, so cool, huh? Of course, they're faxes.
Yeah, the early 2000s, baby, late 90s, early 2000s, the fax machine. Such a stupid piece of equipment that we still are forced to use every once in a while.
Yeah, some government. Yeah, I think the IRS still enforces it. So one of the biggest reasons why food production is localized is because the environment is affected with disease and radiation. We are making huge strides in getting it cleaned up. Water is produced on a community level, and we do eat meat that we raise ourselves. Yes, genetic engineering is used but it's like any other technology. It can be good and bad. One thing we did not do was create more hybrid seeds. What are people thinking? I'm a Christian agnostic. Did John mean Gnostic? I did not believe faith alone is enough to get us back to God. I'm not sure what happens when we die, but I'm pretty sure it's not a walk in the park. Oh, yeah, here's a space travel thing.
Cool.
My greatest joy is sailing. We are working on it. Space travel for fun. I enjoy swimming. No, it's not. Well, he went in so much detail. It's just, look at this. The elderly are highly revered and looked after on a community level, which they should be, but we're far away from that, right?
Well, I'd love to know what I mean. Our elders now, they get benefits, right?
They do, but
they're a little ostracized from community, I guess. They're not.
Yeah. Right.
But that's only in American culture. Worldwide culture. There's a lot of different cultures around the world that were
right. Yeah. We are talking about American culture. So so that that the community is taking after them instead of just putting them in a home.
Right.
But you're right. That is a very American thing to do that.
I'd argue that could be put in your folks in an old folks home could be interpreted as the community taking care of them, right? In a weird roundabout.
Strangers. I mean, right.
But I mean, that's what is a community?
You could, but yes, you could see that as a community. Hats are more common in the future, and flashy colors are less common.
That's one of the funnier things I've read is the thing about the hats. Yeah, I remember that one. And I'd love if he went into detail about what kind of hats they wore.
Yeah, dress is much more functional, and we dress up whenever we get a chance. I've noticed that no one in this time dresses for occasions, even when they have the clothes. Why do people wear shorts to church?
Yeah, I mean, it's that. Actually, we were talking about that during our long airport stay on the way down here. Is that people used to dress up to get on the airplane? It was an event.
Oh yeah, very true. Yeah, you wanted to look good.
It's stuff like that.
We do not spend nearly the amount of time on our hair as people do now. Women like to wear their hair longer, and men have it much shorter. Both sexes shave it all off when they're in active military service. Okay, there's nothing weird about that. Far less medical treatment in the future, even though it's more advanced. People die when they know it's time to die. No lasers, genetic medicine, and cloning organs are the obvious new techs in the future. The Constitution was changed after the war. we have 5 presidents that are voted in and out on different term periods. The vice president is the president of the Senate, and they are voted separately. Interesting. So Switzerland has a very similar system where a president only stays on for a year, and basically the political parties share power. So one party has a president for a year, and then after a year they switch out to another party. So the power is decentralized, and it's never in one area.
Right. So kind of like what the United States says, is where it's just one party that pretends to be 2 different parties.
Yeah, exactly. And now, as we can see with Trump and what's happening with this administration, we're even centralizing more power to the executive branch. He can do whatever he wants. No one even says a word to him.
Right.
So we can see that why we would want to change that, because it's pretty dangerous. We have cars, just not a whole bunch of them. There is public transportation from city to city. If I could bring some material back to your time from 2036, it would be a copy of the new U.S. Constitution. See, his focus on the Constitution as well is pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, I'd love to know what the specific changes are to the Constitution, because at the end of the day, I remember he was saying it's mostly the same, but there are a few things different that you would notice. I wonder what that means.
I guess the 5 regions, that's definitely one there, and then the 5 presidents, right, as well.
Sure.
But yeah, that'd be cool to know the details. Can you explain what the purpose of time travel is? Okay, we went through that. Where do time travelers go? Yeah, it was in the article.
The purpose of time travel?
Yeah.
I don't remember him saying that.
Okay, good.
It's used to get information or items that would be helpful in getting a post-World War III back post-World War III back to a normal condition. Okay. I didn't remember that in the article for some reason.
Where do time travelers go the most? Right now, most of our practical missions are from 1960 to 1980. There's a great deal of research into later and future periods, but the farther you go, the lower the divergence confidence of the world line. I always like that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it starts diverging too much, right? So you can't really. The technology is very different.
Yeah. Did we? I don't think he mentioned, or we talked about it in the first article, but did they talk about the like? There's nothing past the year 2536 or whatever year it was.
I wasn't in the article, no, but maybe we can find it here.
Okay.
Oh wait, that was in the facts also to Art Bell. We can read that.
Yeah, okay.
I like this one.
Perfect.
This one was also prophetic. What is music like in 2036? Most of the same music you enjoy is available on archive. However, the days of mega stars playing multiple track studios, produced music, and lip syncing on a huge stage are pretty much isolated to your time period. Like everything else, music is much less centralized. The general trend is away from computer-generated music and more toward real people playing real instruments. Music is much more of a personal experience. More people know how to read music and play together in small groups.
Oh, he's one of those guys.
Yeah. Social prejudices.
As odd as it may sound, it serves a useful purpose in my time. Social prejudices is what he's talking about. First, you must realize that your experiences with prejudice and mine are different. I would characterize the intolerance you have here as a result of ignorance as fear. I have observed that people with unfounded and irrational fears about their fellow man in this time had the luxury of not having their beliefs tested. After the war, much of the prejudice you have now was swept away by simple necessity. People had to work and fight together just to survive. Yep. This is a way of opening a person's eyes as to the value of fellow human beings. Well, he doesn't explain what his prejudices are.
No, he doesn't.
He just talks about our prejudices and how we're dumb for believing them, essentially.
Yeah.
On my world line, if a man doesn't pull his weight in the community, then we feel prejudice towards him as a burden to us. This feeling of shame he experiences then makes him realize his responsibilities.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I remember when someone's asking about alcohol or drug use, something like that, and he's like, "Well, if someone doesn't pull their weight, he gets kicked out of the community, and that's what keeps people away from just abusing drugs and alcohol."
What is healthcare like in 2036? You probably would not like it at all. I would compare it to what you see in Western movies. We do have hospitals, but there are more family doctors and house calls as compared to what you are used to. There's no real organized healthcare. If you ever get a serious disease, you die. This, however, has had a tendency to strengthen the general genetic pool. Doctors are more concerned about things like broken legs, snake bites, and delivering healthy babies.
Okay.
What is the entertainment industry like? Less centralized.
There
are movies and
again,
TV,
crazy.
but everything is distributed over the net.
Over the net.
Produce their own shows.
That is prophetic as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what we're seeing, and people are just we can see it with what we're doing. Other things on YouTube is very decentralized. With AI now, I mean, people are basically making short films, and they'll probably make feature films. I would say by next year, easily.
Yeah.
So yeah, big Hollywood.
I've already been sending you great music videos that I find that are all in AI.
I know. Yeah, those guys. I wonder how much time it takes to make a 5-10 minute video.
It's got to take a while. It's something I'm kind of working on. I met a guy here,
Nice.
And he's really into AI, and so we're going to start goofing around with the AI stuff together.
Very cool. Nice. Yeah. Looking forward to that stuff. Could you travel in time to escape your original world line? Would you be looked down on for that? From a physical standpoint, I suppose that would work if you were trying to escape a natural disaster, but you must consider that trying to escape by time travel has its own problems. I'm not exactly sure what you mean by being looked down on.
Is there some sort of new world government in place by 2011? On my world line in 2011, the U.S. is in the middle of a civil war that has dramatic effects on most other Western governments. Yeah, I imagine it would.
Yeah. That's not that. How far have computers and software progressed in 2036? Oh, let's see what he says here. He says, good question. I would say the biggest difference is in the reliability of the hardware and software. It absolutely amazes me how willing people are here, he's talking about our timeline, to accept computer and software failures on such a regular basis. I was very surprised to see how prolific it is. You can look forward to very stringent manufacturing parameters and programming discipline. He's not talking about AI, though. How interesting. Think back to the early days of the computer and how much work and cleverness it took to fit those programs into such small areas of memory. Has more and cheaper memory brought better programs or just more programs? As far as technical specifics, I'm afraid I cannot go into too much detail. However, I will tell you that processor speed and memory size take dramatic leaps forward. Super Bowl. Oh, money. What does he say about money?
It's not very different than it is now. Yes, we have money and credit cards. However, like everything else, the monetary system is decentralized. Banking is based mostly around the community structure. There are no multinational banking or computerized economic systems. There are also no income taxes. Let's go.
And, you know, this would make sense because if we're heading into this totalitarian police state, AI surveillance with stable coins and social credit score, the only way to end that is a nuclear war, you know, because the future we're headed is more centralization, more control, and they are very powerful. So this makes sense. If a post system after that would have to be decentralized, right?
Yeah.
If we don't want to have the same problems all over again. Are radio location systems still used on livestock? That's okay. And some of the larger farm communities use electronic markers and fences. I'm not a farmer, so I don't have very many details about that. GPS in 2036. He is excited. He goes, oh, yes. In fact, the unit I have with me works here. I'm not sure why that surprises me. There are also a great many communications and internet satellite systems. So the GPS on his device from a different timeline works in this timeline. Interesting.
What did we even have Yeah, we must have had GPS then. Whoops. We had GPS then, right? Probably wasn't great at the time.
Right, because software got better and
hardware
got better.
And we didn't have like you couldn't open up your flip phone or maybe you could. Maybe later on, but we didn't have devices.
In 2000, hardly. The iPhone came out in 2008.
And
yeah. So again, it's just cool stuff when he talks about communication systems and how important wireless is, how important the internet is. People weren't thinking that way back then.
Do you still have an American flag? Yes, we have the flag. There's a debate about changing it from 50 stars to 5 because of the 5. What do they call it? Is it states?
Regions.
5 regions? Yeah.
Yeah.
No new state names. No new major cities names. Still safe to fish? Yes, they can fish. Is there public transportation? You answered that earlier. Yes. Music and books. Do you enjoy? He likes piano classics and some older rock and roll.
Oh yeah.
But he doesn't play any instruments himself. Yeah, he's taking pictures and video. Very hard to find his favorite food. Yeah.
It all scares the hell out of me. I found a couple of local farms where I'm reasonably sure the raw food is safe. My mother started a garden for me.
Yeah, I don't know. Did we talk about that? Like he's been living with his mother in our timeline.
Right. Yeah, no, we didn't get into that. It wasn't in the article. But yeah, he was living and himself as a young kid, right? Was in the house.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Medical advances, natural disasters.
Hold on. Can you scroll up just a tiny bit? There you go. Is time travel discussed on in the web in 2036? Do you recognize any websites now? The time travel is a major point of social discussion. I'll have to check when I get back. Most of the larger servers that were in the major cities were lost or destroyed. I'll try to bring a copy back with me. Perhaps you can check that in your 2036. Ooh.
Oh, 2012, of course, because everyone was talking about the end of our time because of the Mayan calendar.
Yeah. In my 2012, I was 14-year-old, spending most of my time living, running, and hiding in the woods and rivers of Central Florida. The Civil War was in its 7th year, and the World War was 3 years away. Yes, there were unusual events in 2012, but they do not cause the world to end. Unfortunately, I've decided not to discuss events that you or I can do anything about. It is important that they be a surprise. Perhaps you are familiar with the story of the Red Sea and the Egyptians.
I mean, he lays out a future though that's not going to be a surprise to us, which is strange.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it almost seems like there's multiple people pretending to be John Titor, and they're not cross-checking with each other about what they type out.
Yeah. Who's that one guy? He said he thinks it was a group of people who were John Titor.
There's a lot. I don't know if we'll get into it, but there's a lot of names that have come forward. There's a trio of 3 guys. Is it Bernard? Something Bernard. Yeah. Where they think, I can't remember if they claimed to be him or everyone thinks it's them because they're kind of bad about keeping secrets. They're listeners at home. We've touched the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of stuff.
Oh, it's hundreds of pages of posts. Yeah.
And it continues into modern day to talk about Trump and stuff. There's a lot. If I think any of this is true, I believe the very first portion of it, the stuff that happened on Coast to Coast and Post to Post, I think would be the most true. I think the rest of it was added on by other groups of people, in my opinion.
Civil War. Oh yeah, this is good too. He talks about what he remembers about 2036. But again, it's stuff we've talked about, right? No industrial complex.
Yeah.
Sewer 2005. Time travel. Oh, were we just here? 5100 computer, and this is what really got people interested, right? It was a 5100 computer because only a few people knew that it had this code.
Yeah, it was very weird. This is whoever wrote this is if it is completely fabricated. The people who wrote this are very well educated and they know their stuff.
Yeah, and it's crazy because the nuclear war, destroyed a lot of the infrastructure, right? And to bring back the systems back online, they needed this 5100 computer to bring them back online quicker. So,
yep.
Yeah. And he was related, and he said his grandfather was one of the engineers.
Yes.
Oh, are these the exact same ones? These websites are so bad, man.
Well, they were written 20 years ago or created 20 years ago, so.
Right, we can. Okay, so now, and then here's the book. If you want to get it, A Time Traveler's Tale, it's $250.
Yes, I watched YouTube about this earlier. It wasn't John Titor that published this; it was another guy.
Yeah, and his lawyer.
And the Bernards or whatever, they got sued, or they sued the guy who published this, and so they had to stop printing it, and that's why it's so hard to get your hands on it now.
Right, it's out of print. Is it Alex Haber or whoever? Oh, whoa,
Oh yeah, Haber. That was the name.
Haber. Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. He's the entertainment lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
this
not Bernard. Haber was the one I was thinking of.
Haber. Okay. This is that fax that went to Art Bell, July 29, 1998.
Oh, I wish you had a clip of Art reading it because he's got such a voice.
Yeah, I tried to find it. I guess it was off YouTube or something.
I bet. Yeah. Dear Art, I had to fax when I heard other time travelers calling in from any time past the year 2500 AD. Please let me explain. Time travel was invented in 2034. Offshoots of a certain successful fusion reactor research allowed scientists at CERN to produce the world's first contained singularity engine. The basic design involves rotating singularities inside a magnetic field. By altering the speed and direction of rotation, you can travel both forward and backward in time. Time itself can be understood in terms of connected lines. When you go back in time, you travel on your original timeline. When you turn your singularity engine off, a new timeline is created due to the fact that you and your time machine are now there. In other words, a new universe is created. To get back to your original line, you must travel a split second farther back and immediately throw the engine into forward without turning it off. Some interesting outcomes of this are: 1. You meet yourself. I have done it often, even taken a younger version of myself along for a few rides before returning myself to the new timeline and going back to mine. 2. You can alter history in the new universe that you have just created. Most of the time, the changes are subtle. Sometimes I'll notice car models that don't exist or books that come out late. The oldest one was a skyscraper that wasn't built in a near favorite store of mine in New York. Interestingly, when you travel in time, you must compensate for the orbit of the Earth. Since the time machine doesn't move, you have to adjust the engine so you remain on the planet when you turn it off.
Yeah, see, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
That you can end up on the moon, yeah.
Unfortunately, it was also discovered that anyone going forward in time from my 2036 hit a brick wall in the year 2564.
Oh, no.
Everyone who has ever been there has reported that nothing exists. When the machine is turned off, you find yourself surrounded by blackness and silence.
Damn.
Now, most time travelers are trying to find out where the line went bad by going into the past, creating a new universe, and proceeding forward to see if the same thing results in 2564. It appears the line went bad around the year 2000. I'm here now, in this time, to test a few theories of mine before going forward. Now, for the future you might want to know about. 1. Y2K is a disaster. Many people die on the highways when they freeze to death trying to get to warmer weather. 2. The government tries to keep power by instituting martial law, but all of it collapses when their efforts to bring the power back up fail. 3. A power facility in Denver is able to restart itself, but it is mobbed by hundreds of thousands of people and destroyed. This convinces most that maybe we shouldn't bring the old system back up. 4. A few years later, communal government system is developed after the Constitution takes a few twists. China retakes Taiwan, Israel wins the largest battle for their life, and Russia is covered in nuclear snow from their collapsed reactors. Art, the reason I'm here now is because I believe a nuclear weapon set off by Iraq in the Middle East war with Israel might have something to do with the damaged timeline. I will test that theory and get back to you. Please pray that we discover the reason why there is no apparent future after 2564.
Why does Israel have to be involved in every single one of these things?
I mean, to be fair, every conflict in the Middle East seems to star them in one way or another, you know?
Right, yeah. And then this is the second fax that he got sent.
You got this. I believe in you.
Dear Mr. Bell, I'm glad you're back. I faxed this information to you the day before you left the air. I wanted to make sure it wasn't lost in the shuffle, so I'm sending a gift. If you've already seen this, please accept my apologies. If you choose to make this public, please do not publish the fax number. I had to fax when I heard the other time traveler calling in from the recent time past, in fact, the year 2500 AD. Let me explain, Mr. Bell. I sent a fax with this opening on July 29th, 1998. As I said then, I am a time traveler. I've been on this world line since April of this year, and I plan to leave soon. Typically, time travelers do not purposely affect the world lines they visit. However, this mission is unusually long, and I've grown attached to some of the people I've met here. Anyway, for my own reasons, I have decided to help this world line by sharing information about the future with a few people in the hope, share about the future with a few people in the hope that it will help their future. I'm contacting you for the same reason. Unfortunately, there is no historical reference to your program in my world line. I believe you can change your future by creating one now. Some of the information presented on your program may be invaluable to upline researchers. I suggest you isolate the programs that concentrate on military technology and new physics theories, transcribe these programs, and put them someplace safe away from the box. I recommend someplace in the Midwest. I also urge you to reconsider your paranoia to the Russians. They are not preparing for war with the average U.S. citizen. They are preparing for war with the U.S. government. They will eventually save this country and the lives of millions of Americans. I realize my claims are a bit difficult to accept, so I will send the following once I know you received this fax. A few pages from the operations manual of my time machine and a few colored photographs of my vehicle. If you wish to contact me, I will be happy to share with you the nature of time, the physics of time travel, and some of the events of your future. Please send a return package to. So crazy. That was in 98.
Yeah, man. Very cool stuff. Very interesting, very fun case. I highly recommend everyone digs deep into this if you want to know more. There are plenty of great YouTube channels that will do the full story and cover everything about John Titor that we, the public, have.
Right. And then, of course, like you said, there's lots of interviews as well. George Nuri, and he had Oliver Williams on, who actually created that website. And this was not long ago. This was 8 months ago. So,
yeah, when I was looking for John Titor videos, I came across this. This is like one of the first things that pops up.
Right.
Yes. When you type it into YouTube. Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, just to look at the news of what's happening these days, everyone's talking about Trump capturing Maduro, and he's talking about also Greenland. So these maps have been resurfacing of the United States, and of course John Titor talks about the American federal empire, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is our federal government being an empire. So these maps were made post World War II, and this is how they wanted to. This is proposed how to divide up the world. So North America, all of it, including Canada. It says United States of America, and this is United States of South America.
Mm-hmm.
We can see Greenland is also part of that here.
Mm-hmm.
So this map came up because of that, and
it's published by Philadelphia. Sorry, can you go back?
Sorry. Yeah.
Published in Philadelphia in early 1942. Proposed, or does it say who made this map?
I remember, is it here? I forget the name. But he did sign it. He was an advisor to one of the presidents at this time. Yeah. But maybe someone in the comments said something. Oh, full archer, here it is. And here they probably have it. His name. Oh, Maurice Gomberg.
Yeah. Oh, weird.
Yeah. Shows a proposal to rearrange the world after an Allied victory against the Axis forces. Its title refers to a new world order, a vague concept. But, we can see many things happening on the world stage right now to reshuffle the world.
Yeah. And the only big issue I see, like Australia and Madagascar and New Zealand are all British. I think it says
British Commonwealth of
Nations, which would never ever happen. Unfortunately, the British Empire has long since fallen. Well, I don't want to put it that way. I just mean they're not they're not going out and conquering foreign lands as like they used to. And,
no, definitely not. Yeah,
they don't have the expansionist mindset that the U.S. seems to at the moment.
And this map is also surfacing. It's Elon Musk's father. He was part of this organization. This map shows a vision of Technate America, a future U.S. technocratic empire led by oligarchy of tech barons, an idea supported by Elon Musk's father. And it seems the PayPal mafia, control of Canada, Greenland, Panama, and other countries' territories and resources is key.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and this is...
Look, Venezuela's part of that. Look.
Yeah.
And of course, you think Musk is like influencing this in a way?
This is what we're talking about. Peter Thiel and all these guys, all these rich tech bros that seem to want to dominate the world. This is what they want, and they're and if they're in control of the media, if they're in control of technology, they're in control of medicine and all this stuff, then yes, they do. They are the ones in control. They are an oligarchy.
Yeah, they're definitely an oligarchy, and it's scary just to see what Trump is capable of and what our government's capable of. I think, we haven't really witnessed this in a long, long time. He's just saying, screw the Congress, screw the government. I mean, screw the Senate. I'm just going to go in. I'm going to kidnap this guy. I'm going to say it's about drugs, but it's not about drugs. I'm going to say it's about oil, but it's not about oil.
Just to build the empire, man.
Yes. So we should just get used to the fact that we are now an empire, just like what John Titor said in the year 2000, when people are like, what the hell are you talking about? Well, definitely after 9/11, it started to become apparent that we are an empire, right? But the government never came out overtly and said it.
Overtly,
now,
sure.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, there was a bunch of South American coups in the 1970s, right?
Right.
Led by the CIA. So it's not like we were never doing this beforehand. It's just now it's overt and there's no hidden to it.
We don't need the CIA to do it anymore because we have the executive branch doing it.
Yeah.
And this, just to add to that evidence as well, Putin came out this week and in a speech saying that it makes sense for the U.S. to annex Greenland. So there's an effort going. It's not stopping.
The United States' plans to annex Greenland may only surprise at first glance and lead to the mistaken belief that these are merely extravagant remarks by President Trump. In fact, the U.S. had such plans as early as the 1860s, when the administration considered annexing Greenland and Iceland, but the idea lacked congressional support at the time, as it does now. But as we just discussed, the executive branch is doing their own thing.
Thanks, yeah, they are.
In 1910, a trilateral deal was prepared to exchange territories between the U.S., Germany, and Denmark, which would have granted Greenland to the U.S., but the agreement ultimately fell through. During WW II, the U.S. established military bases in Greenland, and after the war, it offered to purchase the island from Denmark. In summary, the U.S. has serious plans regarding Greenland. These plans have deep historical roots, and the U.S. will continue to systematically advance its geopolitical, military, political, and economic interest in the Arctic.
So Putin's not surprised that the U.S. is doing that. Makes sense to him. So
I had no idea that the U.S. had interest in Greenland as early as the 1860s. That is news to me, and I didn't know about the trilateral agreement that almost went through.
I know, and it always takes Putin to give us a nice history lesson.
Mm-hmm.
You remember when Tucker interviewed him?
Yes.
The whole first half of the interview was a history lesson in Russian politics.
Yeah.
And then, just to bring back into nuclear war as well, Putin talked about someone asked him about because how Europe is really pushing for war against Russia. So here he goes, Russia and the US have early warning systems. Europe has none. They're defenseless. Our tactical nukes are 4 times stronger than Hiroshima's. We have more than them, much more. If war breaks out, Europe will burn first, is what he says.
Wow. But also because they're the closest, I mean, they're next door neighbors.
Right. Yes. Yeah. They're definitely the closest to them. And they're the ones who were really threatening Russia, saying that, we need to go to war and take him out. And his house, wasn't his mansion recently droned? Yeah,
I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah. He wasn't there. But so we are close to nuclear war more than ever. We have Trump now talking about our military budget going from 1 trillion to 1.5 trillion.
Good.
That's 2027.
Just what our military needed. More of a runaway budget.
I mean, it was 700 billion or something, right? It was in Biden 700 or 800.
And meanwhile, the Pentagon fails its 9th annual audit in a row. No one's held accountable. Just it's unbelievable that we just keep giving away taxpayer money like this.
I mean, maybe this is Trump's way of getting these technologies out of the black budget, because apparently they use advanced technologies to get Maduro. Many people are saying that's propaganda.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. I
right?
saw a quote earlier today about how people on the ground in Venezuela were talking about they were all getting nosebleeds and stuff like that. And they were
Yeah.
they were thinking the U.S. military was using some sort of weapon, but I don't know if those have been substantiated or confirmed. It was just like random person saying that, from what I could tell.
And so just more of us reshaping the world. Trump has withdrawn the U.S. from 66 international organizations that quote unquote no longer serve U.S. interests.
Yeah, I wonder. I've seen this poking up a couple times, but I didn't look into it and see what he pulled out of.
Oh, there's a list. Yeah, it's just not there.
Right. What I'm saying is I didn't look to see what the list is.
A lot of European ones. A lot of
NGOs. That doesn't surprise me.
And of course, what do empires do? I mean, Rome did this. I mean, he basically paraded Maduro on the streets of New York, right?
Yeah.
Your mic is making a lot of noise.
Sorry, I don't know what to do. I'm just sitting here.
So yeah, look at it. Just open. There he is in the back.
Weird. Very strange.
Yeah, stuff that empires do.
Yeah, I guess so.
Here's that video. We can listen to it about the weapons that were used to go get him.
Cool. I'm going to unplug my microphone and plug it back in while this is playing.
Okay.
A security guard that was protecting Maduro has spoken, and you got to hear what he said. It's in Spanish, but I'll translate. Also, Trump announced that, the cartels, they're going after him in Mexico. The whole vibe of Latin America has changed because of what happened in Venezuela. And now that we're getting firsthand accounts from people that were there, the soldier says they didn't hear him coming. He says the Americans had technology superior to anything they've ever seen. Everything that they were using for radar, for anything, was completely taken offline. They had drones, and the drones were taking out bases and taking out things faster. They didn't have no technology. They've never had to fight against drones. He also talks about that there was only 8 helicopters. There was only 20 men that were sent in, and those 20 men killed hundreds of their men, and none of those soldiers were injured. He talks about it felt like they were firing 300 rounds a minute. Nothing they've ever seen, nothing that they can compete with. And then he also talks to the fact that the Americans had some kind of sonic shock boom that was sent out, and everybody immediately started bleeding profusely out of their nose. They couldn't even gather themselves because whatever was sent at them made them fall to their knees and vomit blood out of their mouth and out of their noses. They were incapacitated immediately. He says he never wants to go through that again, doesn't want to have to fight with the Americans again. He's sending warnings to everybody out there that you think you can fight the Americans. You don't even know what their weaponry is like and what they're capable of. 20 men took out hundreds, and that's starting to spread all through Latin America. And now they're not saying, if you want me, come and get me anymore. They're like, oh shit. Especially after Trump says, hey, Mexico, you're on the list too.
Yeah, even the Colombian president called Trump, saying, oh, we had a great talk and I don't know what. But this is a clear case of like the breakaway civilization breaking back in, bringing that technology back into, and for the purpose of creating a new empire, to save this old one. It seems like. I mean, if you're Trump and you're in the know and you know what's happening with the financial our financial situation and the debt, you have no choice. Either you allow it to collapse, right, or you go and grab more land and resources and try to not kick the can down the road, but just reshape it where you don't collapse. And I think that's what Trump is doing and people around him. And take advantage of what? What are the assets that we have left? It's our military technology, right? The black budget technologies are, years ahead of everyone else. That is an asset that should be exploited, and maybe that's what he's doing.
Yeah, maybe.
They're not being forthright in the UFO issue yet, and
No, of course
that could
not.
be a reason.
I don't think they ever will be at this point.
And why would you, right? If it keeps you so ahead of the world, and you can do operations like this and surprise people, and where they don't know what the hell you're using, why not? I mean, when it comes to national security, from that lens, why would you tell people?
Sure.
But if your goal is to free humanity and have abundance for everyone, which is not the lens that they look through our government,
Exactly.
then we're not. Yeah, but if they do look through it that way, there would be transparency. Now, John Titor said that he said that he didn't know much more than we did. So if he really is a time traveler, even after a nuclear war, this secret didn't come out. Wouldn't surprise me.
Right. Yeah, me either.
So maybe this is why they think it's propaganda, because Levitt, the press secretary, she shared this with everyone. She said, "Stop what you're doing now and read this," and it's basically about what we just heard about our technology, which would scare a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
If we can just come in and capture a sitting president of a country.
No kidding. Yeah.
And do what we want with him. What else? Oh yeah, I mean, he's even telling the military contractors that they're not allowed to make more than $5 million. They can't do stock buybacks. They have to invest every penny into creating factories and new technologies here in the U.S. Only then can they have bonuses and higher salaries.
Yeah, I mean, this should have
Already.
happened. This kind of thing should have happened in 2008.
Exactly. It was so late. Late.
But yeah, I mean, this is good. We'll see if it actually comes to fruition. I think people who are Trump's friends will find loopholes and get away with doing what they've been doing forever.
Right.
Because I'm a cynic and I've grown up watching these companies, defense contractors, our military, just completely pillage and ravage the people's trust and money.
Right. And but he's acting like a emperor, but he's also worried about the midterms, because all of a sudden now he's doing things for the people, right? Did you see that he's blocking Blackstone and other corporations from buying homes, single family homes?
It's like way too late for that.
It is, dude. It is. Like, they already bought up 25% of them, if not more. They probably bought up what they could by now.
Yeah, I mean, and does he say anything in there, or maybe he did already? Maybe I'm just forgetting, but should have blocked, Chinese corporations and government from buying property in the United States.
He did say foreigners. I said, I think he mentioned foreigners in there.
Yeah. Again, way too late, but man, whatever. Yeah, it does seem like he's working on the midterms right now.
And Maha also flipped the pyramid. The food pyramid, putting meats instead of grain at the top.
Once again, I highly recommend people look into the original food pyramid and why it's shaped the way it is. But basically, Kellogg.
Give us a hint.
Kellogg, the founder of the cereal company, put grains on the bottom to sell more cereal, and that's not a joke. And he also, that same guy, refused to put any sweeteners in the original cereal because he believed he could get kids to stop masturbating. It sounds like I'm making a joke. I am 100% not making a joke here. Go look it up if you guys don't believe me.
Yeah, and of course, corporations are the ones that really lobbied the government for that pyramid, and putting a lot of emphasis on sugars and carbs. And now look at people.
Yeah.
So this is a post that should tie back to civil unrest and civil war, what John Titor said was happening in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
The storm is here. When we come, one, we go all. No one can stop what is coming. Get here, guys. We need you in Minnesota. These people are fucking terrorists. Patriots, get out here. We need to back up. And all you liberal commie motherfuckers, keep your hands to yourself, or you're gonna get hurt today, all right? We executed one of you yesterday. He executed one of you yesterday. You understand that? He executed one of you yesterday.
Don't
Don't
get
get
trolls.
Don't
Don't
get
give them the
hurt.
press. You're just talking to white
You
supremacists.
guys keep
Do
taking
not
the
give
games.
me your
You guys
attention.
keep getting super
Do not.
tight.
I mean, this is not funny. It is kind of dangerous because this guy, he's calling them commies and leftists, and he's like, "We executed one of you yesterday," which is crazy to say to them. And it's
Yeah,
just
I mean, it's annoying. I find people like the guy with the megaphone. I find him just as annoying as I find like the screeching liberal
Yes.
people. I don't
Yeah.
think it's productive for anyone to be doing
not.
any of this.
and he's got the whole ICE behind him.
Yeah, it's just I think it's dumb, but also it's one of those things like these are people who either don't have jobs or they can have jobs that let them take off and go protest. I mean, and that's not a real adult job in my opinion.
This guy definitely has to be a Fed or
I
something
think
because
he's
he
getting
was.
paid.
Yeah.
He may or may not be a Fed. He probably is, but I do think he's getting paid to be there by a Fed.
Well, he was at that Dearborn, Michigan one as well. Remember when that guy?
Okay. And he 100% is getting paid.
And then she's saying, "Don't listen to the white supremacist."
Yeah. See,
So,
once
here it
again,
is.
here we go.
Here are
It's
the
two people on different sides being
Yep.
stereotypical people and also doing the exact same thing. All they do is it's just ad hominem. You guys
Yeah,
are a bunch of commies. These guys are a bunch of racists.
Exactly.
It accomplishes nothing.
Yeah, and here are the characters in the Civil War, and then you have, of course, the ICE guys in the background.
Okay, straight up though, and here's the thing, and this is what always gets me. Look at these two people. Do you think either one of them would pick up a gun and get an actual civil war?
Between these two?
No, neither one of them would.
Hell no.
This guy with the microphone, he's not, or megaphone, he's not showing up to protest unless he's got a bunch of militarized individuals behind him.
Right.
This lady couldn't run 50 feet without collapsing of a heart attack. People always talk about Civil War, but the people who are always talking about Civil War are people like these two. They're not going to be in a Civil War. They're not going to do anything.
No, and it probably won't affect them. But it is fucked up what ICE did. I did see that video. Apparently she ran over one of them before or something. But still, I mean, shooting someone in the face three times, is uncalled for.
I don't even want to get into it. I'll just say this. She wasn't there in good faith, just an innocent protester dropping off her kids. He is a deranged individual who didn't need to unload his clip at point blank range because of SUV clipped him. It's two stupid people that are put in situations to cause conflict. That's it.
Yeah, you sent me this as well. Class first communist. That's hilarious.
So now, and here we go, pushing more conflict, right? Hours after U.S. citizen shot dead by ICE, J.D. Vance says door-to-door operations are coming. So good.
Door-to-door, dude.
More conflict and more people getting shot because, of course, that's how this is going to go. I think they're going to use it as an excuse to instill martial law.
Here's a question. Are we going to have a Waco event every single day?
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Sure feels like it, huh?
It does.
But,
this whole door-to-door thing
but
scares me.
Every time someone gets hurt at one of these rallies, it bolsters the people in charge. In this case, it's the Republicans and Trump. It bolsters them and says, look at all the damage the liberals are causing. We need to go door to door. Oh, look at this person who got shot going door to door. We need to instill martial law.
So scary.
Oh, look, people are fighting against martial law. We need to bring in the military to kill protesters. And then here we go. And then the whole nation's under siege by its own government.
Yeah, just like you said. So here's this: 2 shot by federal agents in Portland. So
that was like the next day or 2 days after. I can't remember which.
Right. Yeah. It was a day after the J.D. Vance one.
Yeah. I mean, it's just it's ridiculous, man. I understand why people are protesting. They see ICE as the Gestapo because they've been trained to view any government action as Nazi stuff, because what have they been doing for the last 15 years is calling the right Nazis. And on the other side of it, we do have an immigration problem, clearly, that other countries around the world aren't struggling with, because some of them are, but they're not struggling with it the same way we are. And it is a problem that Trump, when he was running on his campaign, he said he was going to take care of, and this is what he's doing. So it's not big surprise that this is going on. You sent this. I find this very interesting. I've never heard of this. United States Postal Service, the USPS, they send an alarming letter out to all employees and contractors. Letter signals that an impending crisis of civil unrest or epidemic could be imminent. What do they know? You don't. Just days into 2026, USPS issued memos reminding workers to carry, quote unquote, essential service letters and IDs to bypass travel restrictions during emergencies like epidemics, hurricanes, or civil unrest. Rain, sleet, or snow, right? Or hail of bullets. Government prepping while they're in the dark. While we're in the dark, the last time truckers saw these letters in our industry was during the COVID crisis.
Right.
Yeah, so everyone's gearing up. Do you know about the pizza index in
Yes.
DC? That's up. The stuff with Iran, it looks like I don't know if we're going to touch on it this episode, but it looks like U.S. and Israel are gearing up for a fight in Iran. And Iran's been having the protests and all that shit going on recently too. So, just trouble's brewing.
Oh yeah, I mean, for the first time since with the Doomsday plane in 51-year history, what's believed to be the first appearance in its 51-year flying history, the Boeing 747 E-4B Night Watch, also known as the Doomsday plane, showed up at LAX during Thursday's airline videos live broadcast, and most likely be the highlight of 2026, and that's scary.
Yeah, for those who don't get it, this is a mobile fortress for the president during times of crisis.
It must be so heavy because apparently it's blast proof. Like
it
has lead.
Yeah, it supposedly has protection against nuclear explosions, which is wild. I mean, it's not going to survive a direct hit or anything like that.
Right.
Exactly. If an explosion somewhat nearby, it's supposed to stay airborne.
Correct. Yeah. So I guess the entire administration would be on this thing if World War III breaks out.
Yeah, and I imagine a bunch of right-wing YouTubers will find a seat on there as well.
Yeah, Laura Loomer would definitely be on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's save her. No, please, let's not save her. So that's really scary.
It is.
We're sending.
I hope it's just doing some practice runs. It landed near DC and it took off. It takes off from Omaha, I want to say, right? Was it Nebraska?
Yeah.
Anyway, landed at LAX.
Wait a minute.
Where this video came from.
Didn't John Titor say that's where the new capital is in Nebraska?
Yeah, God, we didn't get to that, did we? Yeah. According to John Titor, DC gets bombed. A bunch of East Coast cities get bombed, and they move the capital of the U.S. to Omaha, Nebraska.
Right. Because it's smack in the middle of the U.S., so it's harder to get to.
Which I think, if I remember correctly, when they first were created in the United States, didn't they want to move the capitals to the middle of the country? Or am I misremembering?
That would make sense.
I would think so.
I think DC is on the border between the North and South, and that's why they chose DC, right?
DC was interesting. I think you're right, but also when they built the capital there, it was just a swamp, and they built
a swamp.
They kind of built it out in the middle of nowhere. I think that was part of it as well. It was kind of in the middle of nowhere, and so it would be difficult for a ground army to get to it, because that's of course when that was established, that's what we had to deal with. There were obviously no planes flying around.
That is funny that it was a swamp, and then we're dealing with the swamp.
Yeah,
right.
dealing with swamp creatures.
And yeah, people they are swamp creatures. Look at shit. The guy we pulled up last. Never mind. Forget it. Mitchell. Never mind.
Mitchell. Wait.
Mitch Connors. Mitchell Connors.
Yeah. And of course, people are World War III is on people's minds, and they're asking. There are two sides: one, Russia, China, Iran, Yemen, North Korea; two, NATO, United States, Israel, and UK. Which side will you stand? So, Titor said that Russia will bomb China.
Yeah. The only reason
why.
I don't see China and Russia as allies. I see them both as being anti-US and anti-Israel, but that's just me speculating.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're right. Well, John Titor, if I remember correctly, he says that, yes, they are on the same side, but then China stabs Russia in the back or something, because that's how the US can get to China, get to Russia through China.
Yeah, it makes sense. Well, I mean,
yeah.
Really? Because I mean, Alaska's like right there. We could go through Alaska, but whatever.
Oh yeah, that's
I guess
as well. Yeah,
you'd have to go all the way through Siberia, where there's a whole lot of nothing.
Right. Yeah, man. It's. I think we're gonna get Greenland. They're not stopping.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting, Trump's put them in an interesting place, right? Because he's saying, what is NATO going to stop us? We are NATO, right? And so all the European governments are freaking out, like, oh, U.S. can't do this, and the U.S. is kind of putting them in a place that says, do something. If you really think Greenland doesn't belong to us, do something about it. And they're going, well, we'll call on NATO. And then you go to NATO, and it's like, well, NATO, most of the strength of NATO comes from the U.S. So it's like, what are you going to do? And that's why I think Trump is posturing, is because he doesn't really want to go to war, but he knows that it's it's not a threat from Europe if they decide to go to war. So he's hoping by blustering like this, they'll make it some sort of deal where they'll sell us Greenland or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're paying 10 to 100,000 per person, and they get U.S. citizenship. Apparently, it's the people of Greenland that are for this. They are Inuit. Did you know that? They're the Native Americans. Or
I didn't.
The Inuit tribes, which I thought were only in Alaska, but apparently they're in Greenland as well.
Despite all this, I would love to go to Greenland.
Me too. Especially that, it'd be a state or something.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it'll end up being like Puerto Rico. It'll be a territory.
Yeah, I was looking for that list of the 66 global organizations for you. Oh, here we go.
Oh, let's see if anything sticks out. Economic and social affairs. That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand why Trump would pull out of those. I don't agree with it, but I know why, because it doesn't have anything to do with Americans in there, and that's what he pretends to be focused on.
Exactly.
International Law Commission, no one pays attention to that. Netanyahu's still out there running the world, so
yeah.
Same with Trade Center and criminal tribunals. He doesn't care about Africa. We know that. Violence against children, sexual violence.
He doesn't care either.
He doesn't care. He supports it and carries it out at parties with Epstein.
Yeah.
Peace building obviously doesn't care about that. Doesn't care about anything UN. So we don't even have to look at those.
Yeah. So like half of them are basically UN.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if the UN ends up either dissolving or becoming completely irrelevant within.
I mean, that's what Israel wants, because in their prophecies. The UN is in Jerusalem. So I bet you that's why he's doing it as well. He's trying to destroy the UN. To have
even right now, the UN. What power does the UN have?
Nothing anymore. We used to go. Remember the Iraq War, the original one? Bush went to the UN and made a case for the war. We don't give a shit anymore.
The UN is corrupt as hell now. I mean, you look at the committees that they put together and who ends up on those committees. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And then 35 non-UN organizations as well.
Carbon-free energy compact. Doesn't care about that. Education clearly doesn't care about that. All this stuff that you see on here is stuff that the U.S. its primary focus should be on the U.S. Right?
Absolutely,
but they don't do any of this. That's what's so frustrating about it.
I mean, look at these organizations just wasting money. It's just so much waste.
They're pulling out of these international organizations where they don't do anything except spend money.
Exactly.
And you would hope they would come back to the United States and say, okay, like renewable energy, for instance, solar panels, great, good stuff, right? Let's pour that money into our own, U.S. companies that specialize in solar power, whatever it is. Let's figure out how to make this more available, more affordable, but they're not going to do that. They're just going to let us continue living off of oil and poisoning ourselves with microplastics. Sorry, I guess I'm really cynical today.
No, not at all. I did you also see the news of that Lindsey Graham now is wants to accelerate ending funding to Israel? Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, but I also saw an article that says that Israel is now posturing that they want to be completely independent.
Exactly. That's what he used. Yeah. So it is. I mean, that would be a huge difference. But that means they can do what they want, and we can't tell them what to do. I think that's
right.
Get out of it.
The article I was saying was like, for instance, Israel was going to sell a bunch of weapons to China, and Biden's administration came in and said, "Hey, no way, Jose, you can't do that." If they do become independent from the United States, then they don't have anyone that says, "No, you can't do that," so they can sell to whoever. Things like that.
Yeah, exactly. So we don't. Yeah. But they're also looking for a 20-year deal. I don't think they don't get that anymore if they lost Lindsey Graham. But basically, Lindsey Graham saying, well, if Trump wants to up the budget from $1 trillion to 1.5 trillion, we have to save where we can. And since Israel wants to leave us or something in 10 years, I'm going to accelerate that. It's just crazy to think that Lindsey Graham would even utter those words. But
yeah, it's wild.
It's some strange times. So, all right, John Titor. Now, were they educated about our problems and how to solve our problems? Were they able to project out issues? Because in the year 2000, we were still an empire, right? Just covertly, like you said, we were in Latin American countries. We're all over the world. We went through like so many wars after World War II. We've never declared war, but we're still at war constantly.
Yeah,
so we were still acting like an empire, and
we were. I mean, I was having this conversation the other day with my brother and his buddy. I was talking about Taliban and how the U.S. provided weapons to the Taliban and gave them training to fight against the Russians in the Middle East. We put Saddam Hussein and George W. won, or not George W. won. Sorry, George Bush won. I should say. Put Saddam in power. Of course, a number of years later, guess who's the big
we
bad?
used him. We used him to do a war with Iran. I mean, a million people
the big
died.
bad guy in the Middle East when we need it. Right. We have a huge terrorism attack that happens on U.S. soil. Most amount of Americans killed in a terrorist attack. Almost all the hijackers came from one country. And did we attack it? No. I mean, it's all smoke and mirrors. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, we have to. I mean, if you're so far advanced in the world, I mean, let's be honest. When we were doing nuclear research and the nuke and all that in the 40s, most of the planet was still very, very poor, uneducated, illiterate. Like seriously, I'm not kidding. Like just the Middle East alone, I think they were still all intense. This is in the 40s, right? Roosevelt went in the 50s. I forgot when we found oil there, but the construction and the modernization of that region didn't happen until post World War II. So, my point is, and then we had the National Security Act and the Black Budget Project and the policy of us to be 50 to 100 years ahead of the world. If that is true, you have to create enemies to justify your budget. If you're like, well, we're so far advanced, we don't need this budget anymore. We are kings on the hill. But if you want to keep that budget, then you have to create, like you said, the Taliban, terrorism, even China. I think China, ISIS for sure. But I think even the creation of modern China is on purpose. Our corporations and our leaders did that probably to create this situation in the future where we have to be scared of China.
China's interesting. I think. I don't think it was primarily created in that. I think it was a problem of our giant corporations they need to feed the machine, right? Make as much money as possible. What do? They find a place where they can find cheap labor and cheap manufacturing, close down the factories here, send it off to China, and then someone later along the line goes,
the mic's really bad. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know what to do. I'm literally sitting in my chair just with the mic up to my face. And then somewhere down the line, though, someone goes, well, hey, let's turn China into our future enemy. We have this excuse now that they are stealing our jobs and doing all this.
Well,
and
leak technology to them, right? Military technology. Why was that? Because everything they have, it completely copies us. The B-52, they have a new bomber now. It's exactly like ours. They have new jets, which are exactly like the F-35. It's like, But now, so is John Titor true or not? Obviously, I can't give an answer to that. Did he say things that look prophetic, especially when it comes to technologies, wireless technologies, and the internet, and everything be decentralized? And who are the enemies, and who's with us, and is Russia going to nuke them or not? It's so accurate. It makes me, and I also want to believe, obviously, but it's so accurate in that sense. It's like, how did they just get all that right? Was it a coincidence?
I think it's a group of well-educated individuals. Obviously, they knew something about physics. They had some wackadoo in there that had a random tidbit about the IBM 5100, right?
Yeah, which is nuts. Yeah.
The social strife thing, I think, is pretty easy to predict. American Civil War, like I said, people have been talking about that for decades at this point. People have always, oh, those goddamn hippies, those goddamn fascists and all this stuff. I mean, that kind of talk, it may sound new to some people who are young and listening, but that's been going around for a very long time. It's the same with city folk versus country folk. I mean, that's been going on since, God, the 1800s. Oh, this city slicker's from New York. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think the social stuff is a easy prediction. And like I pointed out earlier in the episode, they set this up, the character of Titor, in a great way by saying, oh, it's a multiversal thing. I'm on a different timeline where if things don't come true, it happened on a different timeline. I mean, that's
It's a get out
that's
of
an
jail
easy
free
thing.
card.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to dive on theories about time travel? Just really briefly, like your beliefs or not beliefs of it.
I mean, I was before John Titor and these theories. It never made sense to me because of the grandfather paradox and these things. But the whole when he came out, and it just made a lot more sense to me, and then I could justify it in my mind. So I do like the parallel universes, multi-world theory, that if you are able to go back in some way, that it's not, and you do go and kill your grandfather, that's not you who's doing it. You know, that's you in another timeline, and you affected that timeline, not yours. So that's the only way I can see it happening. Many people think that it is linear, and that we do have people coming back from the future, trying to make certain changes just to affect their timeline in the future. I think we're talking with Sid. We're talking about retrocausality and these other theories about time travel. Oh yeah, remember it was the timeline war. That documentary, that was a really good documentary, that it goes through these different theories as well. Who are these factions that are fighting in the future that are coming back here affecting us? So yeah. I like
I just don't. I mean, I don't know. I think, how do I put this? If life is a simulation, or our universe is a simulation, I think going back in time would essentially be a cheat code, right? And I think the rules that we have in place wouldn't allow that to occur. I think if you went back in time, you either, so if it's a single timeline, right? If you went back in time now, that means everything you do doesn't matter because nothing has changed, right? Everything you do once you go back in time hasn't changed because it's a single timeline. It can't be changed, right?
Right.
But going back in time, I think the second you appeared in that previous time, it would absolutely, there's no 2.5% convergence. You standing in a certain area, it's the butterfly effect, right? You appearing in a certain time affects things around you, creates ripples, larger and larger things change, and all of a sudden you've got a sky that's the color green instead of blue, right? Or something. Like, it's just, there's too many variables in time travel, and I think just the fact going back in time would break time and the universe. That's my belief. If you want to get into multiverse stuff, then that's pretty much, I agree, that's the only way it would be plausible,
right?
But I just don't think humankind will ever be capable of traveling back in time. I think future time travel is possible. There's actually physics behind
easier.
it. Yeah, if you travel close to a black hole or something like that, and even like relativity in space, there's a thing. If you're going close to light speed and it takes you 10 years to get someplace, it's been 100 years back from your original, your original starting point. It's been 100 years there, and there's stuff like that. I think stuff like that is perfectly possible. Yeah, I just think going back in time, it just breaks the rules of the universe.
Yeah, but it's just our fascination with time travel. It's just as old as our fascination with aliens.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, trust me, I love science fiction. Time travel is one of my favorite genres. Actually, in preparation for this episode, I've been rewatching the great show 12 Monkeys.
That is such a good one.
The movie was really good. The show is fantastic. I love it. And I didn't actually start watching it because of this episode. I just started watching it because I love that show. And then you texted me and said, "Hey, how about John Titor?" And I said, "Hell yeah!" So nice little synchronicity there.
Yeah. And of course, all the news that came out was like related to that, right? This whole thing of empire and civil war, and I was like, man, absolutely perfect. Well, cool. I mean, look at that. We made it 2 hours just on that topic.
Yeah.
So while we're wrapping up here, there's some, Grusch was on Megyn Kelly, which is cool. So we'll share that. You guys can listen to it. She's getting serious about the UFO thing now, which is cool. But he basically said that Cheney he was the top dog when he was alive. He doesn't know who is now. What else? He confirmed some crazy things on that interview, but it's a great interview. Elizondo, he's saying it's coming. I mean,
here we go again.
What the hell, dude? Like, don't you listen to the audience? Like,
he could have tweeted this every day from 2017 and nothing has changed.
Yeah. And so he's coming out with a new book, everyone.
Oh,
yes.
You know how I feel about people who write books.
What's his new book called? Did someone say it?
Imminent 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo.
I have no idea.
Elizondo new book. Elizondo.
It's a shame how far he's fallen, though. I remember when he first was coming out, you and I were very supportive of him. And since then, he's just, I don't know if it's you let a little bit of fame go to your head or the fact that he's still contracted by the government and had to clear everything with them before releasing. And but man, to be fair to the UFO crowd, there was a lot of people who were skeptical about him from the very beginning.
Yeah. I mean, that's true.
But yeah, once again, if you meet anyone on the street who's going to tell you the secrets of the universe after you buy their book, they probably don't have any secrets of the universe.
Right, exactly. I also have Jay's interview on Joe Rogan. Lou Elizondo's new Reckoning. It's called Reckoning is his new book.
Yeah, and if you want to hear the secrets of the universe that Adam and I have in our back pocket, you should subscribe to our Patreon.
Absolutely, which I'll create really quickly right now.
Yeah, I was going to say that we don't have. But here's a secret I'll give you for free. I'm a time traveler. We have a Patreon in the future.
Man.
And weirdly enough, I have an OnlyFans.
Oh, a time traveler.
That's in the future, though.
Did you see how they're giving visas to OnlyFans people based on their reach? I swear to God, dude, the U.S. is giving visas to OnlyFans people.
And their first stop is the basement of a senator.
Oh yeah, yes, probably Senator Graham.
Yeah. So what Adam has been showing on the screen is a collection of photographs of very clear photographic evidence of UFOs. This was posted on the UFO subreddit. Some pretty good pictures here.
Yeah.
Were
they
seem to be from the 90s?
Were they enhanced by AI? Because some of them look really.
They look really.
Yeah, I remember this one.
Yeah, I was gonna say some of these I have seen. Some of these I don't recognize. This one I do recognize. A lot of these, to be honest, I'll be honest with you, could be faked, including the Gulf Breeze. I think we did do Gulf Breeze actually.
We did. Yeah, we did.
And he had faked a couple of those photos.
Unfortunately,
not all of them.
Oh, I remember this one.
I do remember that one as well.
This is a video actually. So it's
I think some of these are taken from videos. So yeah, just there's been a lot of photographic evidence of UFOs, photographic and videographic evidence.
Anything new that you've seen in down south?
No, you know what? So when I got all those great sightings, we had a different view of the city from where I'm living. Now we're on the south side of town and don't have a great overlook of the city like we did in that Airbnb we were staying in. But trust me, I've got my eyes open. Not unfortunately for me, I love the rain, but it has been dark, cloudy, and rainy here, so not glimpses of the sky.
Do you guys have any volcanoes there?
Huh? Volcanoes?
Any active volcanoes or anything like that?
You know, I don't know. I can look into that. I have seen a lot of fake. How do I make a good joke about this? You know what? Never mind. Moment's gone. What the hell is this?
I don't know.
He changed it.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to bring it up. Like, what the hell? Maybe Topher can.
Did you read this before you saw it like this?
No, I was putting together the show, and then
you gotta start. When I send you Reddit links, you gotta look at them quick because they'll.
Oh no, I did that, but like this I had to press on something. No, dude, I look at it immediately.
Oh, weird. Because it doesn't look here. I'm gonna
See?
pull this.
Click to see new
No, no,
spoiler.
no. Yeah, I know, but that's because he had it spoiled and you would click it like normal, but he edited the post obviously. But it wasn't like that. I just looked at that like a couple days ago. And it was
All right.
fine. But yeah, this guy went on this long rant. Basically, he was preaching to live off the grid and that all of Hollywood were reptiles. I mean, it was just
Yeah,
it was a
the
great
typical.
schizo post. There was no commas, no here. There's a TLDR. Everything is fake. Reality is a prison simulation run by Saturn moon tech, harvesting human suffering. Ancient advanced civilizations got wiped. History was reset, and modern tech is recycled leftovers. Governments, elites, vaccines, 5G money, AI, wars, and pulp culture are all control systems that lower your vibration and prep a one-world digital hive mind. A reset cataclysm is coming. Aliens, demons are involved. Antarctica is an ice wall, and the only escape is rejecting fear, tech, and waking up spiritually. And also, Sydney Sweeney is part of it. And yes, she was name checked in the post.
That is hilarious.
Yeah,
well,
man.
yeah, that's the typical conspiracy theory post.
And with the way Reddit removes everything and censors it, you got. I'm gonna start taking screenshots of stuff and sending them to you. But I want to see the links so you can look at the comments.
I thought it was meant that way. That's why.
No. It was it was like 600 words long, no paragraph breaks, barely any periods or commas. It was great.
Bastards.
But yeah, that's John Titor. I'm still not 100% sure on how to pronounce his name, but love the story, love time travel.
Yeah.
Again, my belief is that this was a very, very well done hoax.
It has to be.
I think the only quote unquote real posts from quote unquote real John Titor are the messages to Art Bell at Coast to Coast, and some of the original
ran with it
on the internet, and then some people, took up the mantle and tried to.
Yeah, and many people have come forward and said it's them. There's a good book by Mike Savu as well.
Yeah.
It's a good book. He goes through all that, but he also comes out at the end that he's not 100% sure that it's a hoax, but leaning to that it is a hoax.
Yes,
because there's so many inconsistencies in the people that have come out and they have claimed that they ran the operation.
And there's inconsistencies in the story. There's inconsistencies in the tone and the writing style, which makes many, including myself, to think it was more than one person.
Exactly. Yeah, and that they answered questions really easily. They even said like some of the people who are even asking the questions that they were part of the operation. He knew what the question was going to be, and that's how he was able to answer so quickly. Because that was part of the thing is that well, if he's lying, how come he was able to answer so quickly?
There's, like I said earlier in the show, there are so many different interviews, articles, podcasts that you can listen to that will dive even deeper into this, and you can just spend hours listening to John Titor and about time traveling. It's really good stuff. It's a lot of fun. Make up your own minds. He did,
and the Internet Archive. The Internet Archive is 400 pages, so the Time Travel Institute forum, you can listen, you can read every single post and questions done. Do that on your own time. It's a lot of fun.
Yep. So I guess that is it. We're right at 2 hours. I think now's a good time to wrap up. I got some chores to take care of anyway.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm 3 hours ahead of you, so the day is over here.
Cool, man. So yeah, if you guys would like to help us out, please share all that stuff. Share with your friends and family. Put it on social media. Clip us if you want as well. Maybe we should start a Patreon. Except I don't know what if we have packages, then that's another platform to take care of and put on there, and but maybe people want to do it that way, or I can think of something else for subscriptions.
Yeah. Hey, listen, if you donate $1,000 a month to our Patreon, you can be the third person in UAP.
Yes, you can be a co-host for $1,000 a month. Very nice. I like that.
Yeah.
That's pay to play, baby.
Yeah. $100 a month means you get a 1 hour FaceTime with me, and we can just talk about aliens and conspiracies and stuff.
Will you show yourself on camera?
Yes, absolutely. For $100 a month. That's how cheap I am.
Very, very nice.
For $10 a month, I'll send you a signed screenshot of my PFP.
What would you say? Would you just sign it, or would you say
No,
something?
I would just put Topher. See this picture of the pyramid with propellers
Yeah.
underneath?
Yeah,
I just write Topher across that, and you can get that for $10 a month.
nice, dude. There we go. We have the packages now.
Yeah, see, it's easy.
Cool,
No,
cool.
but in all seriously, the liking and subscribing, it's super annoying, but it's required to be said at this point. In this day and age of
Yeah.
YouTube and social media, we do have to say things like that.
We are getting lots of comments, which is nice on
Yes.
YouTube. That's the engagement is great, but you need to like and you need to share those.
Yeah.
Those go a very long way. We're also on X at UAP the podcast. Topher is at Topher at all, and I'm there at Breakaway Civil. Follow us, engage with us, and I think that's about it. Write in, give us your feedback. We have our email. You can go find our email through our YouTube, but it's Uncovering Anomalies Podcast at gmail.com.
I have a reverse Patreon idea. If you print out a slideshow of this entire show and film yourself reading it to other people and have them sign a document, I'll send you $100.
Whoa! All right. That's an oral contract right there.
Yeah, that definitely can be enforced and not considered satire for sure.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely.
But I would, I would really like it if someone did a slideshow of our pod. They just did the podcast on their own with just like
Dude, that'd
art
be so
images.
hilarious. I'd be like, what is wrong with that person? Get
Hey,
some
I
help,
would be a
man.
big fan.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding. We love
All
our
right.
fans.
Well, thank you all so much for listening. We will see you all next week. Or wait.
Oh, yes.
We're going on another podcast next week.
Oh, yes, we are. We're going back on Bitcoin Live, baby.
I don't think it's back on. I don't think we've ever been on Bitcoin Live, have we?
No, we
done
have.
We've done their UAP show. I don't think we've done their Bitcoin
Oh
show.
yeah, but I know, but it's still part of Bitcoin Live. I mean, it's Bitcoin Live, and they call it the Big Picture or something like that. But it's still on Bitcoin Live.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
yeah.
I'm really excited to go on to there. I hope we can talk about Bitcoin so I can offer my expertise of absolute zero knowledge about Bitcoin.
Yeah, it should be a fun time. It'll be the four of us, Topher and I, over with Sid and Nick. Yeah,
Yep.
always a good time with those guys.
Absolutely. Okay, great. That's all I wanted to say. We'll see you all next week.
All right, next week.
A shadow in the dark, a light against the stars, a podcast from afar. It's Adam and Topher, we come in peace. Our hunt for the truth will never cease. It's the Uncovering Anomalies podcast, where the truth is told until the last. Listen to our words and hear our voices. We can't save you, but present your choices. A message in the static, a shadow in the dark, a light against the stars, a podcast from afar. It's Adam and Topher, we come in peace. Our hunt for the truth will never cease. It's the Uncovering Anomalies podcast, where the truth is told until the last. Listen to our words and hear our voices. We can't save you, but present your choices. We can't save you, but present your choices. We can't save your choices. We can't save you, present your choices. Present your choices. We can't save you, present your choices. We can't save you, but present your choices.